I've always heard you have cancer is the worst 3 words you ever want to hear, and I would have to agree. Where my cancer was located, it could have easily just hopped up into my brain and lights out for Buddy Russ.
Number 1 for New Country, Gator 99.5, and your buddy Russ.
So I'm from Lake Charles originally. I love Lake Charles history, and with that, I love radio. Ever since I was 9 or 10 years old, I wanted to be a radio DJ so bad.
All day long on Saturday.
I started having some more sinus issues than I normally have. I noticed more and more on the left side of my nose and my sinus cavity was getting more and more stuffy, and there was no relief. Saw the ENT in Lake Charles. He looked at my CT scan and said, this is way more than a polyp or a mass or a sinus issue. You need to go see a specialist. And I was like, okay, this is out of my realm. I don't really know, who do you suggest? And he said, there's a few doctors that are specialists in Houston. He goes, but I've got a really close friend in Baton Rouge that's really good at this. And he said the words that got me sold on it was, he would be really excited to take this case. And I went, well, let's go with the guy that's excited. That sounds like a great idea because I want somebody excited about my problems. And so that's how I met Dr. Christian Hall.
Of course, we're inside the Lake Charles Civic Center.
Dr. Hall actually took samples across both sinus cavities. And that's when we found out that it was cancerous.
I'm excited for it.
It's called an olfactory neuroblastoma. And it never hit me that it was cancer until I actually got home and handed my mom, I went to their house, handed my mom the paperwork, and that's when she told me, no, you have cancer.
Have you not heard about the ribeye sandwiches from Hackberry?
How bad is this going to be for me? My greatest fear was, is this going to be the way it goes? I mean, I watched my grandmother pass away. I watched plenty of friends with cancer pass away. So that is really there forefront in your mind of how bad is life about to get. Normal is no longer anything except for a setting on a dryer. You just pine to feel normal going through therapy. You just want to have a day where you can wake up and something new not hurt or feel sick, and you don't. Mentally, you're alone. I've had the flu, and people call me, hey, I just want to check on you. Like, oh, I'm good. I'm just eating some chicken broth. It's a whole different world when someone checks on you where you're going through treatments and you're going through this type of process in your life. And that's the big surprise of how much words can do and help you and truly encourage you for that.
In Lake Charles, we're gonna do the Stuff the Buddy Russ bus.
Humor seems to be a really good way, because if you don't laugh, you're gonna cry. I was able to do that with all the infusion nurses and of course the doctors. I loved making fun of Dr. Janasia because he took it so well. I would make fun of whatever tie he was wearing.
I'm excited for it. I've been going to it, 4 times?
Dad and I were driving back home to Lake Charles from Baton Rouge after I had my MRI, and they called me, but she tells me everything is clear. You no longer have cancer. Every worry I had, every situation I had been in, it didn't matter anymore. And of course, I start crying, obviously, and a giant bearded man crying probably looks hilarious. I'm trying not to right now. But we're driving, Dad's driving, and the next thing I hear is, and the truck's moving over to the right-hand side of I-10, and I look over and he's wiping his eyes. Of course, he's a giant bald man, and he's crying, and we're crying in this blue Dodge pickup truck. And I'm like, I just got diagnosed with no more cancer. Don't kill us, on the way out of here. We're driving along. We got quiet, and he said, "Well, that's a new chapter. That's the end of that chapter." And I sat there for a minute and started thinking, all my experiences with the hospital staff, my experience with meeting people, random strangers on the street who had heard through the radio station, come up and tell me about their stories. That wasn't a chapter. We closed the book on that life. We're now writing volume 2.
We're going to take up school supplies for all the kids in Calcasieu Parish.
Remind people you love them and understand that life is short and you need to enjoy it as much as you can.